Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktirabhavati Nashtaki. Rudraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 27th chapter, titled as The Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. So this material nature is composed of 24 elements. And one of these element of this 24 is mind. And how the mind is formed is mentioned in this shloka. The nature of the mind, the qualities of the mind, it is mentioned here in this shloka. So here Kapiladev is saying to Devahuti, 27th shloka, Vaikarikad, Vaikarikad, Vikurvanan, Manas Tattvam, Ajayata, Yata Sankalpa, Vikalpyalbhyam, Vartate Kama Sambhava. So here, the nature of the mind is mentioned here. Vaikarika Vikurvana, Manas Tattvam Ajayata. Mana means mind. Manas Tattvam Ajayata. Yatta Sankalpa Vikalpabhyam. Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Accepting and rejecting. Vartate Kama Sambhava. So here, Kapil Dev is saying to Mata Devati that this mind, Vaikarikat Vikurvanat. Vikurvanat is transformation. So, Vaikarikat, from the false ego, which is in the mode of goodness, Vikurvanatvat, when it goes transformation, it forms the mind. Manha Tattvam. Ajayata Yata Sankalpa Vikalpyabhyam Vartate Kama Sambhava. And this mind has this nature of Sankalpa and Vikalpa, accepting and rejecting. And this is because of Kama Sambhava, because of various material desires. So here the translation is, from the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place, which is that this mind. From this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflections gives rise to desire. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining us this nature of the mind. Prabhupada is saying, the symptoms of the mind are determination, acceptance, and rejection, which are due to different kinds of desires. Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Acceptance, rejection, like that, which are due to different kinds of material desires. We desire that which is favorable to our sense gratification, and we reject which is not favorable to our sense gratification. So we feel happy when something satisfies our senses. So we accept it. For example, a food. If you like particular type of food, then you accept it and you enjoy that. But if you do not like, then you reject it. You do not like it. So this is Sankalpa and Vikalpa, accepting and rejecting. This is all based on sense gratification. The material mind is not fixed, but the very same mind can be fixed when engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada Ji is explaining here that this mind, it has this function Function of the mind is acceptance and rejection. And then this acceptance and rejections are because of the material desires, right? Now this is the temporary nature of the mind, like a monkey mind, which is one time will think like this and then other time will think like that. It's acceptance and rejections. So mind is flickering nature. It will like something at particular time and it will not like the same thing other time. This is the temporary nature of the mind. And because of this temporary nature, the mind is not fixed. And it constantly like oscillates between this cycle of sankalpa and vikalpa, sankalpa and acceptance, rejection, acceptance, rejections. And this all continues throughout the life. So most of the people, even the most powerful people, their mind is not stable because the mind is flickering. And the reason of that being, that is material desires leading to sense gratification. So this is asat, which is temporary nature of the mind. And when the mind is moving like this, one is not happy or satisfied, right? But Prabhupada is saying you can stabilize this mind by activities of Krishna consciousness. Here it says that the material mind is not fixed, but the very same mind can be fixed when engaged in Krishna consciousness. So when you start serving and thinking about Krishna, the mind becomes fixed. Srila Prabhupada says, otherwise, as long as the mind is on material platform, it is hovering, and all this rejection and acceptance is asat or temporary. It is stated that he whose mind is not fixed in Krishna consciousness must hover between acceptance and rejections. So, if our mind is engaged in activities other than Krishna consciousness, it will be always uncertain or stressful. But as soon as one's mind is engaged in Krishna consciousness, in service of Krishna, thinking about Krishna, chanting about Krishna's name and pastimes, then our mind becomes stabilized. I've seen many people, they're always worried about so many things because they have no Krishna consciousness. However advanced a man is in academic qualifications, as long as he is not fixed in Krishna consciousness, he will simply accept and reject and will never be able to fix his mind on a particular subject matter, right? So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that even though the very qualified so-called scholars, PhD, their mind will be unsteady because the mind is not fixed in Krishna consciousness. So here in this shloka, overall, Srila Prabhupada is explaining about the evolution of the mind. How mind comes. The mind is due to, it is arising from the false ego in the mode of goodness. Sattvic ahankar gives rise to the mind. And this mind has a function of sankalpa and vikalpa, acceptance and rejections. And this acceptance and rejection is because of material desires, sense gratification, kama sambhava. And this mind, because of this acceptance and rejection, the mind becomes temporary, a flickering nature of the mind. And mind is constantly oscillating between acceptance, sankalpa, rejection, vikalpa. And such mind becomes asat, temporary. And this leads to unsatisfactory nature of the mind. And we are not happy at all when the mind is like that, right? But when one stabilizes the mind in the activities of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, thinking about Krishna's pastimes, then the mind becomes fixed and engaged in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, the mind remains unsteady, right? Uh, Even the most academically advanced individuals, no matter who they are, their mind will be unsteady if it is not engaged in service of Krishna. So here in this shloka, Prabhupada is explaining about the nature of the mind, the purpose of the mind, and when it is connected with Krishna, what are the benefits of the mind which is fixed in Krishna consciousness. So we'll pause here. We'll continue study of Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow. Randraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.